Does anyone have any issue with the agenda? Anyone have any issue with the agenda?
Yes. I would like to move. Thank you, got to get used to that. Yes, I would like to move all of the items off of the consent agenda to new business, please. So it would become ordinance number 25-26 would be B, 25-27 would be C, ordinance 25-28 would be D under new business.
Anyone have anything else? Call for the question.
We're gonna have a second. Is that your motion?
Yes. So
I-
I need a second.
I'll second that.
Doesn't need a second.
Oh, that's
You're
true, it is
approving.
the consent agenda.
It just
That's
is,
right.
it's, you say it, it's fact.
That's right, thank you.
Yeah, but don't, you should do that down there. If you're moving it off here, you're approving the agenda as amended.
Anyone can pull about the consent agenda.
Correct.
And she
I understand that.
Yeah.
But it's where you're doing it.
She said it to new business.
Yeah, new business.
Never mind.
Oh,
All those in favor?
Aye.
I-
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Okay. Brings us down to the public hearing portion. Where you'd like to read it in the ordinance?
Ordinance number 25-25, an ordinance of the Houston City Council to accept and appropriate $50,000 from the Matt Suhel Foundation to the City of Houston Firewood for Community Program.
We'll open the whole public hearing at 6:05 for ordinance number 2525. Anyone in the public like to speak to ordinance 2525?
Good evening, Laurie Faber, Mayor, council members. I would just like to speak in support of accepting this grant. I know there's a lot of contention around the wood program and all of that and the equipment that was acquired for that. The bottom line is this firewood goes to help veterans and seniors in our community, and it's our responsibility to take every action that we can to help provide for those individuals. That's all.
Anyone else?
Carla Vanderbeek. I just don't see why we wouldn't take the grant. I mean, it's helping our citizens. Why wouldn't we take the free money and help our citizens? So I'm fully in support. It worked out well last year. Let's keep it going. Thank you.
Anyone else? Six oh five.
Okay.
Seeing no others, we will close the public hearing portion for ordinance number 2525 at 6:05.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2525.
Second.
Okay. Chief, if you come up and give the benefits of this, actually, Melissa and Chief went on both. There was a lot of questions about it last time, I guess you could get them all covered now.
You. So, okay. Christian Hartley, Fire Chief. There is a strong, part of the reason for the whole discussion that it started last year, yes, it was to benefit the people, but the beginning of the conversation was not just that. The beginning of the conversation was the fact that the Little Susitna River campground was a huge fire trap. Dead spruce everywhere, black spruce everywhere. It was a danger to the community. And the discussion was, what can we do to mitigate that risk? And one of the ideas that came up was the possibility of turning it into firewood for people in the community. It allows us to remove the fire danger woods, and that's why what was targeted was the diseased and dead trees and the black spruce were what were targeted. That's why when you go driving down in there now, you see primarily the birch and some of the cottonwood still standing. That was the primary purpose of what started this project, was the fire fuel mitigation. And then it turned into, well, we can do it on the other areas. We have areas all over our city that we want to convert into parks or into community areas, open air recreation, by removing those trees with the same concept of getting rid of the fire danger ones first and converting that into firewood for people to keep them warm. It's a benefit to both the city for the development of our lands in a way that benefits everybody, using diseased and damaged trees that were a threat to everybody. It's a win-win-win as far as the fire department's concerned. These trees are hazards, the ones that were being removed from the campground here, and it gave a dedicated purpose as opposed to just filling a landfill somewhere. You know, why would we take the community's resources? That wood is a resource for the people that depend on firewood for heat. Why would we take that and just throw it into the garbage and be part of the problem?
Melissa, can you kind of give the history of the grant and what we filled out for and what we got for it last year, just so the new members understand the purpose of the original grant and that this is supposed to be feeding the intent of that program?
Sure. Last year, we had this grand idea to get rid of the beetle-killed spruce and cut up the wood and give it to seniors and disabled and veterans. And we applied for the Wood Innovations Grant. We were able to get that grant, which was amazing. We had to do a match, which we did mostly in labor and fuel and resources that the city provided. The wood processor we got out of the grant, as well as a couple other attachments that helped us complete the cutting of the wood and chipping. The wood that was produced, we got 86 cords of wood that delivered to seniors, disabled, and veterans in Houston. We weren't able to deliver outside of Houston yet, but we were able to deliver those 86 cords, and they were very well received, and everyone was very thankful for them. And we got letters, we got pictures. People were very thankful. I thought it was an absolute success. We tracked everything. We had people fill out forms to apply. We had a spreadsheet going with people who had received the wood. It was on basically you had to be home basis. We made the calls to folks, made sure they were home, didn't want to just dump it anywhere in their yard. And it was a well-received program. I think everyone benefited who had applied for the program and also received the wood. There were people that did not receive the wood, which was one of the reasons why we wanted to circle back and complete this. There were people who didn't. We just didn't have the manpower to get it done before winter. So we applied again. We applied for the Wood Innovations Grant, but it was very competitive this year. There were other people trying to do this program as well. So, and kind of do what we were doing, and we didn't get it. The funding was delayed, so, and then finally we got word that we didn't get it. So we had also applied simultaneously for something called the Massillon Health Foundation Discovery Grant, and we applied for that as a match to this Wood Innovation Grant. So since we didn't get the Wood Innovations Grant, we also couldn't get the Discovery Grant because it was the match for that grant. So we called and talked to the Matsu Health Foundation. They said, well, we could give you this one-time gift of $50,000 just so that you can do this good work. And that's how the money came about.
And I just want to add on to what she just said there, because it's very important to know about. When we applied for the grant initially, this was all her brainchild as far as the grant, the initial grant, when it came to purchasing the equipment to help seniors out. It was, there's always good things and bad things, and there's good things to be said about things and bad things to be said about things. But this project was so validated and so successful in its mission and in its purpose that, like she said, it was replicated by other communities, including locally in our own Matsu Valley, that became competitors for that grant money. So this money coming from Matsu Health Foundation to keep this program growing, this is the pilot program that is now spread elsewhere. Just keep that in mind, that this is a successful program, even though there were some people that could not get it last year, whether it be because we ran out of time, the equipment was down for a period of time, or that just they didn't answer their telephone because they didn't recognize the phone number, whatever the case might be.
One other piece of that, I'd like that you had a right involvement was your fire rating from the city and showing that you were doing actual fire mitigation. So people need to know that it actually saves them under insurance if we are in compliance with those things.
If we did get credit from the Insurance Service Organization, ISO, toward we basically it's considered extra credit toward your ISO rating if you are actively engaging in fire mitigation projects. And this was one of the key fire mitigation projects we had.
Thank you. One other thing I've heard at one of the meetings was, why don't we just take the money and buy wood? Well, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of getting a grant and cleaning up our city. The Matsu Foundation could have just bought wood, but the idea behind the whole program is we're fixing our city and getting some of the fuel sources that could cause wildfires to take our city down with these funds. And so it's not a matter of the firewood. The firewood we're going to have cheaper than I think the actual cost to produce the cord of wood, not counting the equipment, because the equipment's going to be spread out over 10, 15 years. But the actual cost that it cost us was about $100 and some to produce the cord to go to the seniors and disabled veterans. At the same time, it was free fire mitigation for the city. So it was a very effective program for doing what we needed to do to keep everybody's insurance rates down. And Matsu Health Foundation thought it was such a wonderful program, and they thought they were actually going to provide a match to go to a larger sum so that we could hit all areas of our city. And when we couldn't get that from them, they actually had offered this to continue on with the program, $50,000 to do this. Does anyone got any other questions? Go ahead.
So I have a couple of questions. The last meeting, I specifically asked about the grant agreement that is listed in one of these emails. And yes, you provided a summary of the last program and how it led up to here, but where's the copy of the grant agreement itself?
Well, I guess those aren't included because the $50,000 isn't a grant. It's not a grant in itself. It's more like a gift of $50,000 towards this program because we got neither of the grants. We did not get the Discovery Grant for $75,000. We did not get the Wood Innovation Grant. So it's more like a gift, not a grant.
So where they call it the Healthy Impact Grant, that's one that you got turned down for. Because it says here, Healthy Impact Grant, approved for $50,000.
Maybe that's what they're calling it. The Discovery Grant is what we had applied for.
Okay.
So maybe this is something different. The award for 50,000 might be a different,
Yeah, in here it says Healthy Impact Grant approved for 50,000, designated for the Firewood for Community Keeping Houston Warm and Safe project. Please electronically sign and return the grant agreement. So that's what I was looking for, was that grant agreement that they're asking to be signed and returned.
we don't have access to that until you guys say yes or no, you want to approve it, and then we can click the button so that we can see what that has with it.
Yeah, I have a button that once it's approved, I can use.
I gotta get used to this. I have a, email that has a button on it. I can click it once that's in, and then I agree to the terms of the grant, which is basically, here's $50,000, carry on your wood project.
Okay. And maybe the clerk might be able to answer this one. Do we have any wood processors that are listed in the city for business? I'm just curious if our insurance would allow either volunteers or wood processors to come in and cut up the wood or take care of the deliveries and stuff without taking away from Public Works employees.
There are none that have come forward. No.
So just to recap on both questions, if I can, Mayor. On the second one, no, there are no business licenses for firewood processing in the city of Houston.
Okay.
The second one, the first question, what it was they took on the Discovery Grant for the match toward the Healthy Initiatives Grant. What probably happened at the Matsu Health Foundation level is that they just converted it over into a Healthy Impact Grant because that's allowed for up to a certain amount. Healthy Impact is larger than the Target Wellness Grants. So because they converted it, there wouldn't be an application on our side. So instead, what happens is the city will agree with the terms. You have to do this within this 1 year, quarterly report. It's going to be that kind of stuff. And I'm sure the mayor could send that out once it's approved. But the grant agreement is just saying you get $50,000 for this purpose. You must give us quarterly updates until it's completed, then it close out no later than 90 days after the last
So
day.
before signing the grant, then we can't see any
Well, there's no grant application.
stipulation. Right. So he has to hit that button for us to see any stipulations of what must
It's-
happen with the,
It's just an agreement that says, you use the wood or use the money for the intended purpose, which is what we're telling you. It's a wood innovation.
and one more question, Chief, you can answer this one. The ISO that we just went through, did that happen before the wood grant from last year? Did we go through that before it? So then would the
So-
ISO that's coming up in what, 4 years now, I guess? Is that the one that would be impacted?
No, so the initial on-site visit was before the Wood Innovation Grant proceeded. However, the grant implemented before they did their evaluation.
Okay,
So they did their on-site. This went in toward this one. I think off the top of my head, I think we got 11 points of extra credit toward our ISO from it.
Okay.
And then if we continue the program forward, then we can use it toward the next one in 4 years. Yeah.
gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Anyway,
I have one question. So you said we're cutting firewood down from city property and using those spruce or beetle kill spruce and trees to use for the firewood program, right?
Mhm.
You guys, did the city clean up the Susitna Park completely, the campground completely so far? Is that what you're saying?
That would actually be a public works question because they're the ones that were doing the actual work last year. I don't think that it's completely cleaned up yet because it's going to take some time to what's called scrubbing.
Okay.
You finish getting the logs out and then we go through and get all the brush and stuff out. The stuff that you see on the ground out there will not remain on there in perpetuity. We've been
Okay.
trying to collect it, and that's where we do have a pile out there right now for some of it.
Is there an estimation of the trees left standing right now? Like how much firewood are you expecting to accumulate from these public
Yeah.
or city property? Just curious what's left out there and
So Little Susitna River Campground, I think, is pretty much done, other than the trees that are on the ground that need to be processed further. But we also have
there's more.
there is some more, but there's also Bear Paw Park, which I think it's gonna be 1/5 of that area is going to be cleared out for the planned developments out there. There's also Little Susitna River has a lot of beetle kill, like the Rotary Park side has a lot of beetle kill that has to be pulled out, that's not going to be a wholesale clearing. There's a lot of city land. There's really no estimate to give on how much we can do. It's just a matter of doing as much as we can until we run out of the funds, unless the mayor has a more specific.
I don't want to hamstring the next administration, but it can be used for virtually anything as far as for fuel mitigation on trees in the city, or like Chief was alluding to, even clearing the property for the next fire station / public works facility. So it can be used, and I would leave that up to the next administration.
I have a couple questions. How many people are on the list for this year, or didn't get accepted last year, or didn't get any wood last year?
Well, I don't have the spreadsheet in front of me, but there were quite a few there were quite a few applicants in general. And so there were quite a few we weren't able to get to. I could get that answer for you if I am able to get to my spreadsheet. But
Just rough number.
I'd say 40 from what I saw.
40 people?
That would be my best guess.
Yeah, I would say about the same, but 40 people did not receive it. And again,
40 people didn't receive it, plus how many did receive it?
well, there were 86 cords. So how many-
yeah, there were 86 cords. Some, gosh, I mean, it's hard without the numbers in front of me, but also there are more than 40 counting people outside the city who applied, which we need to service all the folks inside the city first. So I can definitely get those numbers.
Okay. Just trying to, then I guess the other thing is, how much wood is easily accessible to get at, versus having to pull it through, like down at the park, you got 200 yards off of the pathway or something to get to it. I'm just, how much work is it going to take to get to a lot of the stuff or whatever?
Not much. There's some area that needs to be cleared down at the campground
Okay.
where at the river's edge, where trees are falling into the river and causing blockages at the bridge. So there's a whole area we could clear down there.
Okay. And the stuff that is down along the drive or past the pavilion and stuff, is that usable yet or not? That's piled up?
We still have some that's usable down there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I just piggyback real quick after one of the things he asked and you just brought up? If we do get to all the residents this time around, are there plans to get wood to outside of Houston residents? Like if they come to us or work out their own delivery, is there a plan for that?
Yes, and we tried to do that last year as well with pickup. If you could pick it up, if you can come to the city and pick it up, we would have that availability, as well as looking for volunteers to deliver outside of the city, because we can only deliver inside the city. Delivering to Willow is pretty difficult.
I thought we had a couple go to Wounded Warriors too.
It's a different name, but yes, they were going to help.
One more. Do you guys do a cap, or not a cap, to say, is it like one cord to a person, or is it 2 cords? I mean, because you can't just say, well, I'll bring you 5 cords, and then the next person doesn't get nothing. Or, I mean, how do you guys do that?
Right, we were giving, even if they put on their little form, they wanted 5 cords of wood or 3 cords of wood, 1 cord, and then they go back to the very bottom of the list.
Okay.
And everybody gets their one.
I will say that they were using the big dump truck, or the 5-yard truck, that they got a very healthy cord of wood out of that.
Okay. Have you guys looked into getting wood? I know it's work. If you guys have to go get it quick, it's going to take time. Have you, I looked or called somebody. They have Papoose. They would donate wood to us if we were to get it here or go pick it up? Because he does donations. Would you, I mean, is that an option for everybody to consider? I know you want to work at that, but I mean, if people need their wood right sooner because you want to season it a little bit and we want to get it going if we do. I mean,
Well, the beetle killed is already dry, so when they run that through, there's nothing to,
right,
Wait
but
for it.
if they're busy doing other projects, you know, or whatever, if you guys would consider doing something like that. I know you want to work at cleaning the city up. That's,
maybe say the question, I'm not sure we understand
You
this.
have people bringing wood to the plant to be processed at the plant. Is that
I would consider hauling or going with myself to get some stuff.
That would, the processing, we'd have to go back to the grant agreement on that and what the grant allows us to do as a city with the equipment. There is stipulations, like we have to have it for ourselves for 10 years unless we can prove that we put more money in it, rebuilding it, and then there's a whole lot in the grant agreement. So
I'm not saying I want the wood for myself. I'm saying he will donate it to the cause if you guys would be, you know, if that's an option. So versus,
it could potentially be an option. We could look into, because the original grant was for the clearing of the land was part of the problem, or part of it. But the objective of the program is to provide an alternative source of heating for people that need it. So it would fit within the mission parameters of the grant. It's the matter of whether we can use our personnel to process that wood is what we want to make sure we're not using public works time. We want to make sure we're only using grant time to process the firewood.
well, and on top of that, it is a very mobile unit that can go. So depending on how much wood would be at the place, it may be easier to move the machine to a place and process it there. But that's going to be, like I said, all those things are administrative functions, and I really wouldn't want to answer for the next group, the next person that takes over, because that's on a case-by-case basis, but you'd have to make a decision.
okay.
Any other questions?
I was able to get the number. There's 55 people that we were not able to get to last year. There's 70 people on the list for outside of the city.
Oh, for outside.
Mhm.
So just to be clear, there's 86, you said you delivered 86 cords,
Mhm.
or there's 86 cords that you want to deliver
No, we delivered 86.
last year?
Mhm.
Okay.
We don't know how much we would be delivering this year until we start the project.
Any other questions? Seeing none?
Motion's been made and seconded. Sorry, excuse me. Motion's been made and seconded to approve ordinance 2525, an ordinance of the Houston City Council to accept and appropriate $50,000 from the Matsu Health Foundation to the city of
Hold
Houston.
on.
Okay, I have an amendment to make for it.
I think would actually be part of your report, so anyhow, but it
Yeah.
doesn't hurt to have it in there.
Motion's been made to amend ordinance 2525, section 2, line 29, adding to require the administration to provide a monthly report to the council, including hours spent by each department and the use of city equipment to process and deliver firewood. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Main motion is amended. Ordinance 2525, an ordinance of the Houston City Council to accept and appropriate $50,000 from the Mat-Su Health Foundation to the City of Houston Firewood for Community Program. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
So, let me just help everyone, if you guys have something like that, stick your hand up next time so we know for sure.
And they go on these forms that are in front of you guys on the dais.
You have those?
Yeah. These right here, so you can write them in.
Okay. Brings us down to the business, yes.
Or audience comments?
There aren't any.
Yep, that's-
None. No one signed up for it.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on any issue? Yep.
Natural gas.
Carla Vanderbeek. I wasn't able to be here on Monday, but I did watch it on YouTube, which, thank you, that's awesome. But so I want to take some time tonight to make a couple of comments. I want to thank the previous council members. They worked really hard for our citizens and did some wonderful things for our city, as the mayor outlined in his comments on Monday. Also, because of their forward thinking, the groundwork for future positive projects has been laid. So I appreciate that. Now, the negative comments that I've seen on social media about them, in my opinion, are completely baseless and at times just flat out cruel. I'm sorry they had to endure all that. I know some of them personally, and they are very trustworthy, honorable, and ethical. I and so many others really appreciate them. Unlike a few years back, where we had an administration that resigned midterm and didn't leave any information for the new council, I'm sure that they will be more than happy to help the new council members with this transition. They're really good people and they'll help, as will the other ones. Now, for the new council members, thank you and welcome aboard and congratulations. It's not going to be easy, but I know you'll do a good job. I know you haven't lived in the city very long, so I just ask that you learn our history and understand our history. So please speak and listen to all of your constituents, not just a select few. You have an opportunity to unite our residents, and I ask that you do your best job to do just that. You also have an opportunity to work respectfully with your fellow council members. Sure, there's going to be disagreements. I just ask that you have civil, constructive debates. Don't just vote against something because you may have a personal conflict with a member bringing it forward. I ask that you step back and you think about the question and you ask yourself, what is the best decision for our residents? One more page. It'll be under 3 minutes. It is my opinion that Mayor Cole and the council members have put us on a positive track forward. Our city is growing whether we like it or not. Please be cognitive of what our future in Houston is going to look like. Please don't just take a status quo approach. We have to be prepared and proactive on managing our growth. Don't be afraid of grants. Go after that grant money and trust your excellent staff to follow the required guidelines for each grant. All these funds improve our lifestyle with little or no cost to the city. My major priority is to bring natural gas. Our residents, your constituents, need an affordable way to heat their homes. and it'll bring new business, which brings new tax revenue. I have been a strong supporter and very vocal with our council members about the importance of extending our natural gas lines to our community. I will continue to advocate for this and urge you all to please keep this as one of your top priorities. There's been a lot more attendance at these meetings the last few years, which is absolutely great. With the new technology, there's also a number of people watching on social media. I'm one of them. Our residents elected you, and we are paying attention. Please continue with your transparent, honest, and ethical leadership. Natural gas, please. I have to end it with that.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hello again. Laurie Faber.
I'm Ron Bass.
So natural gas. We're very excited about the LID that's potentially going to go down our road. I'm going to speak a little bit about my personal experience with heating oil. I've paid as much as $1,000 a month to heat my home. I'm a single mother with 5 kids, one with disabilities. I don't know if you understand the cost of that, but it's significant. We experienced a house fire in March. That was a very traumatic event that had to do with our hot water heater and the heating oil that really impacted my family. I have, like I said, a family member that has disabilities that I care for. And every time that kid smells heating oil now, he panics that our house is on fire again. So for us personally, for the Faber family, natural gas is huge. It is going to mean cost savings and safety for us. So please consider that. I brought 4 of my children. I also have neighbors that are on our road that have come here this evening to support and tell you guys how important it is to us that this happens.
And it's my neighborhood too, right? And so I came down here to try to explain what we did, but we went down the road. We talked to every single last neighbor, the neighbors that weren't there. There were properties that were they haven't been there for years or whatever. We got a lot of them on the phone. There's a couple that we didn't. And then so maybe we can send them a letter. We did the due diligence to make sure that they knew what they were getting into, kind of thing, type of deal. So, and of course everybody would like natural gas. Some people said that they were not going to tap into it, but they were still liked it because it brought up equity in their home. So anyway, I don't know. I know there's some sort of vote tonight. Just consider that. It's going to help families, Don't make your decision on, oh, this is Ron Bass's idea. There's a lot of families in the neighborhood that need this. You know what I mean? Straight up, just like that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Ethan Faber and Bo Faber. I'm going to speak for both of us when I say that having heating oil is definitely a major problem. If you do have heating oil, then you would know the struggle of you get in the shower and you try to turn on the hot water and it's completely cold. And then you go down and you check and there's nothing in the tank. It's 10 o'clock at night and you have to go down to Fisher Fuel. Not fun. There would be a lot of things that would be fixed by putting natural gas down this road. And eventually, I hope, putting natural gas down everywhere that needs it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no other, I think.
Wayne Oliver. We've had 3 previous natural gas projects that I'm aware of that were done on the CIP. Enchanted Forest, Marlboro, and I think Cherry Lake was part of one that was on a capital improvement project previously. So I was curious as to, maybe it was because they want it now, but the previous ones were done with capital money. So I'm just curious why this one's a LID. But I'm all for natural gas, and I think everybody in the city should have it. And then I know there's 2, a phase 2 and a phase 3 project that are pretty good numbers around, I think one was 1.2 or something like that, and then the second one, but those are still on the CIP list. So I just think it'd be beneficial if everybody knew that we already did 3 under capital. There's 2 big ones still under capital, and then this one's an LLAD. So I would wonder if this could be a capital project rather than an LID, or why it couldn't. That's all.
Thank you.
Anyone else? When we get to the item, I will address all of those issues of what, when we actually look at the LID portion. Any other person have comments? Okay, seeing none, that'll take us to new business. And it's, first item is action memorandum 2533.
Action memorandum number 2533, authorizing the mayor to execute a memorandum of agreement with Life Med Alaska LLC for the lease and exclusive use of available office space at Fire Station 91 located at 12965 West Armstrong Road, Houston, Alaska.
I'll make a motion to approve action memorandum number 2533.
I'll second.
Jim, would you come up?
The history behind this is we already have a really great partnership with Life Med. It just came up in an organic conversation about the fact that they were looking at possibly finding some office space on this side of the valley. A lot of people don't realize it, but a lot of people are also very well aware of it. Anyone that works in the medical field, HIPAA is huge. Whenever they treat a patient, whenever they do a transport, they have to do a lot of EMRs, electronic medical reporting. You cannot just do that on your cell phone. You can't use an app. You can't just use your own personal laptop. That has to be done on a secured network to be compliant for Life Med's policies. Currently, what happens is if they have a flight medic that didn't get it done on shift, they've got to drive all the way into Anchorage to get access to the computer network to hook up and do their paperwork. And so the conversation came about the opportunity to, if they could lease some space out here somewhere, they could just get it done out here, save on the personnel's fuel, save on the time, and make it more convenient. We also have an established helistop here at the fire station. It's not a helipad, and it's very important. Helipads have fuel on them. A helistop is just a place that a helicopter is designated that it can stop on a routine basis. So they're already familiar with the site, already familiar with the area. It's really centrally located for this western core area between Houston, Willow, Big Lake, Meadow Lakes. And it works out perfect for them. Right now, it is an unused portion of the fire station that was recently improved with the intent of working with a different public safety partner, but they weren't interested in it anymore. So it just came out. And I do have one friendly request of the mayor or one of the council members. I must have been a mistake on my email. The other is 13965, not 12.
Could have been me.
But I'm here for any questions about it at all.
Anyone on the council have questions?
Oh, yes. Yep. I have questions. So is this in the action memorandum, it's referred to as an MOA and an MOU. So which one are you intending?
So that would probably be a mistake on my part. It's an MOA. An MOU is just a
Right.
gentleman's handshake versus an MOA would be a lease agreement.
Can you make sure your mic's on?
So the question, in case it wasn't picked up by the recording, was there's a dual reference of an MOA and an MOU. It should be an MOA the whole time.
It was on. Okay, I was right the first time. Sorry, chief.
So that would be a mistake on my part if I put MOU at one point, because the MOU is just when you have a, sure, it sounds like a great idea, we understand each other. The memorandum of agreement is an actual formal lease that establishes parameters that have to be followed by both parties legally.
Right. So then moving into that, since it's that, reading through it, I didn't see anything about provisions addressing who'd be liable for injuries, property damage, negligence, anything like that. Unforeseen events like natural disasters, how that would affect some of the agreements that are listed in there. Confidentiality about who's going to have door codes, who is going to be able to access security systems, that sort of thing. Termination clause. Some of the maintenance stuff in there.
There was a termination clause in there. The maintenance stuff, the only things that we guaranteed for maintenance would be the snow removal from the front, which is part of our fire station anyway, and general building maintenance and upkeep.
Okay, so then bringing up snow removal. Trying to be diplomatic about this. We usually don't get snow removal at 9/1 done by the city. Our battalion chief is the one who does the snow removal. So then how is that going to change in terms of Life Med? Is the city going to be held to doing that parking area, that the helo, all of that? Or how are you going to?
That's going to continue to be the fire department. That was the purpose for that truck that we just got, the brand new truck with the plow on it, is to more efficiently maintain the stations, both of the stations and the fill sites. So it would just be our normal procedure for maintaining the snow on it. We're not guaranteeing them anything extra on top of it. This isn't the day-to-day use office for them. This is a occasional use. So we're not having a big impact from them.
Okay, but then you also have the $1,200. Sorry, I've got a bunch of notes and they kind of got jumbled when I put them in to come here. You've got the $1,200 as a lease payment. And if I read everything correctly, that has to go in as an ordinance, not just an action memorandum, because you have to designate where that $1,200 is going to. And in here it says, for the performance of the services described above, monthly $1,200 annually, and then which payment shall be due in full upon execution. So would they be paying month to month? Is it all one lump sum paid at once? How?
So
That's kind of confusing in there.
I'm not sure if the mayor's going to have a better answer, but
I can help on that. It's already automatically designated by code that it goes to the capital fund. And on a payment, once the agreement is signed, we can work with them. Either it's an annual payment or what we thought about doing to try to get it. And I haven't actually had that conversation with them yet, but is getting on it a January to December annual lease time. And then we could prorate what they're going to do this year. But we haven't had that discussion. But when that does happen, we'd bring that through to an ordinance that would designate that to go to the capital fund.
So the purpose of the AM is just to go into the memorandum of agreement so that they can lease the building. If it chose to be executed, whenever it starts executing, like he said, code specifies any leases of city buildings go into the capital account.
And just to clarify on the insurance, the city has umbrella insurance on all of our buildings already. If they wanted additional insurance for something they're storing, then they would have to cover that. And we can add a clause for any of their personal items so that the city's not liable for those.
Yeah, because there's also, I found a lack, if there's disputes that come up, that's not addressed in this either. How would a dispute be resolved? So that would leave the city open to liability if we're not covering ourselves in terms of mediation. If, something were to happen and it would come to mediation or anything like that, I didn't see anything in that agreement that would protect the city. And that's my main thing, is just making sure, not that LifeMed is going to be, shady or anything, but just to make sure that we have everything in this that would protect the city no matter what might arise.
Yeah.
And so I would say this needs to be tweaked a bit to get all and there's some language in here. Some of it is just grammar stuff that could be fixed. And then some of it like shall fix minor issues, including but not limited to repair. That wording is kind of funny, and I think minor versus major issues needs to be more defined, just so it's not so, it's kind of open-ended in this. And again, it's all about protecting the city on our end. So I just think some of the language in here should be tweaked.
Was that a standard agreement you've used?
Yeah, it was just a standard template that I had used. I do see the Councilmember Johansson's point. I think there's no like big race to get this passed. It could be postponed until the next meeting. I can make some adjustments. Everything that I've heard from what you said, the two main things that I think that it would need is just a requirement that they show proof of workers' compensation for their own employees so that we're not at risk for injuries that they obtain while at the building. Everything else is covered by the city's already umbrella insurance coverage. We've had that issue come up in the past where people got injured in front of the fire station. So unfortunately, we're aware of where our insurance stuff lays on that. But that's also a pretty, I'll leave that to the decision of the council. Because I think I'll leave that to the decision of the council, because I didn't come up in my drafting of it because they are a formal corporation that is well established. They have their own workers' compensation insurance and their own personnel insurance. All they're doing from us is leasing the space itself. We're not contracting them to do work for us. They're contracting us to provide the office space.
Correct. But that office space, for people who haven't been in there recently, does need some work, because it was originally touched up, I guess you could say, because it was believed AST was going to use it as a possible satellite office, and it has sat since those repairs were made. And so is the city going to have to put out money in order to get it ready for LifeMed? And then, sorry to bounce real quick, but like under building and safety checks, you've got safety inspections under A, and then C, fire prevention, which mentions a lot of the safety inspections. So that could be combined together to create less language, but is all less language that means the same thing. I did a walkthrough of the room to show them what the room would look like, what the office space would look like. The only thing that we would be under an obligation to provide more than, because Public Works did a really strong overhaul of that building, of that room, was I have to put a fire extinguisher back in there. Right now, we don't have a fire extinguisher in there because it's an unoccupied portion of the building. So would the bars be staying on that?
Yeah, everything else would be
bars?
remaining as is.
And the bathroom looked like it needed work. That doesn't need work?
They had no objection to the status of the office when I showed it to them. But
Okay.
that could be added to the contract as well.
Yeah, just based on the things that I see missing and stuff, I think it would be good to postpone this, just to tweak it a bit and add some extra language and take out some things, and just postpone it till time certain. So the next meeting, November 13th,
Could you?
make a
prov-
motion to
Yeah,
postpone
but
it till time
Could you
certain.
provide a list of what your concerns are there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, I have a lot of it printed out.
If it helps toward the motion as well, Councilmember Johansson, if I'm given that list before we leave the building today, I could have that before the meeting on Monday if there's, no, we can't change the agenda for that meeting.
Yeah, it's a special meeting.
It hasn't,
Yeah.
it hasn't been posted yet. It'll post tomorrow.
May I ask one clarifying question?
Sure.
Might give some context. This is Life Med ready to move in immediately?
This is just an office use agreement, so it's just a matter of once they have permission to use the facility, yeah. They're not necessarily moving in, like bringing in a whole bunch of office equipment and
Just to
anything
gauge
like
the.
that. Just
urgency.
basically a table, a laptop, and some internet connection hardware.
Oh, thank you. That just brought me to another thing you had said earlier about them using it. Internet, we don't have internet at our station. Well, I guess now that you have Starlink, we piggy bank off of that. So are they going to install their own internet? Because what we have at the station is not, I mean, we can't even have training nights that utilize a computer there because of our crappy, what we have there. So is that something that they would have to install on their end, their own internet system? Or like, I'm not a tech person, so if I'm not saying that right.
The
I
Starlink
apologize.
connection to the fire station from City Hall will pretty much only affect the fire department side. That's why it's not in the agreement. They would have to
Okay.
provide their own internet
So that
connection.
would be their own, okay. Yeah, I'll wait, see if there's anybody else that has it.
I have a question. Has the city of Houston had any, agreements in the past with Life Med,
With what?
with Life Med, using any of the facilities?
No, we haven't really had agreements. We've had agreements with other organizations using like leasing other spaces in the building or on the property, but not with Life Med directly. This would be the first. They were just looking for space on this side of the valley and
Okay.
it came up.
And the $100 a month, how did that come about as a dollar amount? Just curious.
Just because the impact of their presence is minimal, they're not going to affect our operations. They would be responsible for their own utilities other than electricity. The only electricity to that side of the building though are 4 LED lights and 1 water heater. They would be responsible for their own heating oil, and that kind of stuff. So that's just the number that came up, was just $100 because it really is a minimal impact to the city.
Okay.
And we're not trying to profit off of a private organization.
Right. And then is there an estimated cost of what it would cost the city to maintain the list of their responsibilities here?
No, because it's already performed in our normal operations because it's all one building.
Okay.
Like the plowing is still the plowing, whether there's somebody in that building or not. And we did have that room offered up under the previous administration for almost 3 years, trying to get people to lease that space. And there was never any interest in leasing the space from any other entity.
Okay. All right, thank you.
We do have a lease at the Bird Place. So is that the same?
It's the Alaska Wildbird Rehabilitation Center, and I think they pay $100.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they pay $100 per year.
I believe
Yes,
it's the
per
same.
year.
I believe it's the same agreement.
Yep, it's just a lease that they're sitting on. They're using the land, and
Yeah.
theirs is a long term. This is be a much shorter term at a time.
I would like to make a motion to postpone this till time certain, which would be November 13th, the next meeting. Yes, November 13th. Oops, wrong, yeah.
I'll second that.
Mayor, like I mentioned, if you haven't already posted a notice and an agenda for the meeting next week, I could have the document updated by then, or if you want to wait till November, that's fine too.
I am in support of doing it on Monday, but she has a motion.
You said we're not in a hurry for Life Med, right? So I think.
We're not in a hurry for Life Med. They are trying to find space on this side of the valley, but it's not like we're time sensitive. But we were describing it's just going to be 2 or 3 paragraphs. I could have that typed up before noon tomorrow and have that to the clerk before the deadline for posting. It's just an offer.
All right, I'll change that to 20th, Monday the 20th.
Monday
Is
the
that-
20th.
All right, time certain, Monday the 20th, then if my second is all right with that.
I still second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to postpone amendment 25-33 to time certain of 10/20/25. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
We go to B, which is now ordinance number 2526. It's introduced on October 16th and set the public hearing for December 11th, 2025.
Do you want me to read it?
It's a motion, yes.
If it's a motion, then you need to have a second.
Yeah. Anybody want to second that? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I had a hard time
Yeah,
hearing.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what you
said.
And that's my fault because I didn't push my button. I'm sorry. No.
That's it. I'm button challenged here. All right, I'll make a motion of introducing ordinance number 2526, October 16th, 2025, and set the public hearing for December 11th, 2025 at 6 PM.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, there's been a little bit of discussion on this. I'll try to get a lot of answers out there. The reason why we are not attacking this through a CIP, it's the residents are tired of waiting for the city to get this done, and they've asked us to do it and are willing to pay for it. That does not stop us from going after additional grants, and the council will have till June next year to come up with a payment options for this particular work. Have said is, hey, we would like to have this work done, regardless whether you guys get money or not. This is what we're willing to pay because we're tired of paying high energy costs. They have petitioned us to set up an LID, and it takes a long process to get there. Between now and the hearing date, there will be ballots that got to go out to all the property owners. They have 30 days to return those. If there's not 51% of them that say yes, then they themselves kill the LID. If there's more than 51% of the cost of the LID that return to us, it will be brought to the council for a decision. There was multiple options for the city to have this work done. Unfortunately, we've had a federal administration up to the prior, in the last few years that I've tried to deal with, that hated fossil fuel. That's not the case any longer, and I really believe we have, the next administration has some great opportunity to get gas throughout this city. And if we don't take advantage of the federal government that we have and the addition of gas lines that they're trying to get, I mean, we have a lot of leverage in the next couple of years if we take advantage of it. There isn't a reason why every resident in Houston can't have gas sitting in front of them. And so we just need to, but if residents are not willing to wait for that, I certainly support their efforts to get it, because it is a huge cost savings. 5 to 80% on a monthly cost is big for a family to have to deal with. So the answer in a short way is I'd love to do the whole thing as a capital project. It costs us about $5 million. We have phase 2 and phase 3 that we've applied for. And we have senators working on that on our behalf. And there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of opportunity coming up now that we have a federal government that is not against fossil fuel. So it is important in the next really 6 months to really put a full court press on getting that happened, or getting that to happen. And even reaching out with Willow and NSTAR. I have kind of brokered some work on that. It's going to take a lot more, but the next administration needs to pick up where that is now and move it forward. So any other questions about an LID?
I have some questions. In order for us to be able to make an informed decision before November 13th, not to impede the introduction in any way, just want to, if now is the appropriate time.
It will be setting the public hearing for December. That's, so the clerk has a,
December 11th.
December 11th is the
Right.
next time you guys will have it before you to actually make a decision. And by that time, the property owners would have voted. Every one of them will have a ballot. They will return a ballot to us, let us know yes or no. Oh, one thing there is a requirement in our code, and you'll see the checked red properties that kind of show up red.
Right.
Those have a minimum. So if the property owner on those red lines, which one of them's already petitioned that they want it, but they all need to vote yes or be willing to put up a payment forward, and that'll all be available for the council at the December meeting where all that's at. But there is provisions. There's nothing that stops the council from saying we're going to pay for the project at the end. There's virtually nothing other than we can't do that now because we have about $650,000 that we need for a match for a federal thing for the joint thing. So that's going to, our reserve has been sitting there growing to help be able to do that with some in-kind service. But we can leverage it because it's actually money that's going to be coming back in to help the residents get this gas. And that'll probably take a 2-year period of time to get that building done. So it's kind of a delicate balance there of keeping reserve funds in the reserve for that, unless we can get, which is another big item that the next administration has to start working with our senator and our governor and everyone else to try to get that match. I think we can get it, but it's going to take a little bit more work to where we can say that 25% match is there. Until then, we need to keep it tightened up.
the early sampling that was mentioned in the summary, is that, I think what Ron was touching on earlier?
They did
about-
yes, so what Ron and Lori did is they went around and did a petition. And they had 80% of the people in that area said they wanted to do this. Now, they don't have all the details when they did that. That's why we have to do a formal request out there and let them fill out a ballot and send back to us. But
I understand that in that early sampling, there are many of the petitioners, as it says here, interested in paying upfront.
Mhm.
Do we have an idea of what that percentage is?
I do, but I don't want to share that yet. Because
Or is it significant?
until
Because-
they vote yes on it, I would be really sticking my neck out on the. I do have a pretty good idea, though.
So if the majority were to pass the lid and people didn't tap into it, they still have the costs associated with the lid assessed onto their property?
If they, the LID is established for 45 properties. Those 45 properties will get that assessed additional value unless they make the payment for it, and it's done right off the top. But there's we can do payment methods on it too for a 5-year or 10-year period, which would bring it down on the $30 a month if they really needed it. There's ways that we can work with that. But there's quite a few nice, or how to say that right, there's quite a few people in that area that would benefit greatly on a month-to-month gain in their own personal income. If they just had the gas to their homes, they would save the cost of the LID in 1 year's time.
Right, and in turn, the money that they're saving every month to receive natural gas would easily make the payment towards the
Yes,
LID.
100%, yes.
And not only that, it increases property value quite a bit. And I think that's one of the main incentives is, this few $1,000s up front, it's going to increase your property value far more than a few $1,000s.
Yes, it does.
It's a wise move, but I do think we have to be conscious of those who can't afford much. They're on a fixed income. We did already receive one email from a gentleman that has, I think, 2 lots and would be assessed that cost twice and doesn't have the funds up front. I would like to see if there's a way that we could find some kind of grant money to put towards that, if that's possible, just to make sure that the people who don't want it and don't want to pay the cost, even though it increases their property value and would be a benefit to them if they could afford to put there's also the cost of appliances up front to put in your building that receive natural gas. If they can't afford to do it and don't want it, I think the city would be wise to provide a way for that to happen, just so that it's not a massive burden to somebody that can't afford it. So that's one thing we should look into for sure.
At a future date, can we amend this in order to incorporate capital in addition to the reserve fund?
Well, yeah, so even up until you guys have the final costs and actually set the LID, there's amending. And we may, so let's say we only get 50% comes back. There's nothing that says we can't readjust that LID area so that we may take on a smaller one for those folks that, stack right next to each other. I mean, there's other ways that this can be done. So we're looking for winners to make this a winner. We can block out just about anything. Right now, the petition was, hey, when you get 80% of an area, I used to do about 5 or 6 LIDs a year. I've never seen 80% at the point of petition.
On that 80%, just to understand, some of the language is a little ambiguous, so forgive me here. So is the 80% based off of landowners or the assessed value?
It's off the value of the LID. So you have 150,000, whatever the value that we have for the, so it's over that
165.
value of it.
Right.
Land people have to agree to that.
Okay.
I have a question. So the $3,600 is just to get the line down the road.
Yep.
And then they have additional cost to get it from the road to their building,
They will, yes.
right? Do you have an idea how much that's gonna cost?
$1,000. And then they have the conversion of, I think it's just over $1,000 to get it from the street to their house. And then whatever, I mean, some of the folks are already on propane, so it's a matter of flipping an orifice, but it's, the ones that aren't, there's burners that can be converted in there, and appliances can be changed out or whatever needs to be done for those. Every home is gonna be a little bit different, but, even with those costs, if you just think your monthly costs that you're gonna be saving, and it's been proved by my neighbors and myself, you will be saving 75 cents or 75% of your monthly cost.
In that ballot that you're gonna mail out, would that be information in that ballot?
Yes, there'll be a
So
lot
they
of,
know how much the cost is plus the cost to the house, and then for them to realize they have to change appliances or.
yeah, if you look under the information piece that went with this, the IM.
And the real cost over time, right? So for the full amortization, so 60 months, it would
Well,
be 4,400,
that's
I believe.
just, it can be what you, the body will, and this body here will set that.
Okay, at
And
the
it'll be
time.
based upon what the people come back to us and think of the project at the end and how much they can afford. I mean, there's gonna be plenty of opportunity for the folks to weigh in and what this council, out of our big heart, is, like I said, big projects out there that we have to be mindful of that, I mean, there's nothing better. I'd love to say, let's go do the project for them. But we have other commitments already that's coming that we have. The money's not been procured there yet, but we do know it's coming. There's a federal grant that we have to come up with a 25% match, and I know we have the ability to do that with our own funds. Until we replace that source, we have to hold on to our funds that's in the reserve.
Just for clarification, so nothing is actually dispersed until NSTAR is completed.
Correct.
Okay.
And when
So we're
NSTAR
looking in terms of time frame. This is like end of summer.
June is what
Okay.
we're targeting for, yeah. So they probably, these guys wouldn't see anything till August as far as from us. And if it's anything like our first, the city actually paid NSTAR to get it up this far up this Birch Road because we have it going to our annex. They quoted us 32 or so thousand. It came in a thousand or two less. So hopefully that'll be the case where this will actually come in a little less. But until it's actually done, we'll get the final thing from NSTAR, yes.
When NSTAR was here, when we were talking about the capital version of this project, they gave us that number. And I bet Carla knows what it is.
I think I remember it was 1,800 to connect to the service, and that included the first 100 feet into your property.
And then it was $1.50.
And
a foot after
that's
that.
100 feet from the property line, not the DOT right of way, it's from your property line. That covered the first 100 feet, and after that, it was $2 a foot. So if you have a property set off the road a ways, it would be $2 a foot in addition to the 1,800. That's what they had quoted us when we had them in here a while ago. I remember writing that down because I have a long driveway that I want to put natural gas down, and I remember doing the calculation. And so I don't know exactly, with an LID, I mean, I don't know if it's the same type of project. It seems like it would be a very similar deal.
It is, exact same.
So,
In fact, the phase 2 and I think phase 3 basically have the older costs of Birch Road in it. And then there's a contingency we put on top of it for the time frame and I think we're still within the, if you go online, look at what we have for those projects, should that come in and we actually get those funds, it would pay for that project completely. Yeah.
I have a couple questions. So, it says 80% of the properties, petitioned the city with 80% of the properties.
Owners, yes.
And so the other 20%, why did they not sign the petition? Do you know?
They weren't able to be contacted because some of them are not local. There were some in Anchorage that they hadn't got a hold of, and out of state, some, I think it's Spokane or one of them, I don't know. It's all the addresses are there.
Yep.
But we will have to contact them, the city will.
And then I have one more question. So with this LID, it's primarily, I guess, this is how I'm understanding it. It's kind of giving the property owners, the city is giving the property owners a type of quote unquote loan to pay for this, and then they pay the city back monthly. Is that correct?
Okay, that's pretty close. There's more to it than that though, but we're giving the utilities a right of way down our roads to put the utility in. And they can't do that without us approving those projects. Through that, we're giving the landowners opportunity for us to have the utility company put the pipe in the ground with our permission of them using those right of ways. And they can either pay for it automatically with no additional interest, or they can use it as a loan depending on what we end up setting those terms as.
And do we know what that interest would look like, or is that?
Not the prime rate is the day, every LID I've ever done those is the prime rate the day that you guys accept it is what it's set. And that we can find out whatever that is, but that'll be clear in June. And it may be way lower than it is now.
And with that, since it is, I guess, I'm just gonna say quote unquote loan, what happens when the residents can't pay that?
It'll be like any other foreclosure process. The property, it just becomes part of your property tax. It would be like a piece of when this gets assessed to your property, that additional tax is put on there based upon whatever terms. If we said $30 a month or $10, whatever this body decides to put that term in, we would notify the borough, and that would be put on that payment amount until it's paid off.
So in turn, the city could possibly put liens on the property and take them from the residents if they're not paying?
Like any property, if you don't pay your property taxes, yes, it'll be taken from you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for taking the time to explain this. This is a complex issue, as I
It
know
is
you're
very
aware.
complex.
I want to bring to light the reserve fund balance, and I'm sure you're aware it needs to be 25% by municipal code. Do we have a process to waiver that? And this is, we're trying to estimate where are we going to be at it in June when this would have to be paid out. But those reserve funds, as of the latest finance report that I saw, which was August, yeah, I think it was August, we have 523. So taking 165 from that would drop us below that 25% threshold. Is that,
Of
is
you're
that a
talking about for our
consideration?
match.
Well, the matching portion, that's new to me. I didn't see that in the ordinance.
Yeah,
So-
okay, so let me clarify a few things. The match that we're trying to save the reserve for until additional funds are found is for that joint fire station, public works facility, which we've already got a commitment. If the federal government ever comes back and starts doing its job again and gets those funds to us, then those funds are set aside for that until we find a way to replace those reserve funds. But this is a little complicated process, but welcome to the management of city. The reserve can be used for this project because we are anticipating quite a few of the property owners paying back the amount going back into that reserve if it's needed. Plus, without going too far off the rails, we are looking very good on our revenue this year coming in versus what we projected. There wouldn't be a problem the way it looks now, that even if 50% of the residents were borrowing that money out, that we wouldn't have enough extra funds this year to be able to cover those costs, if that makes sense.
It does. A minor point, if the lending rate were 7.25%, then that would constitute a profit on the city in terms of the loan.
Yes.
Can we, from what I saw in the code, it said it has to be the prime.
Yes.
Okay. So, I think.
Can it be waived by you guys? Yes, it can.
Okay, because in terms of like a matter of ethics or legality.
We just present what has to be presented to you.
Sure.
You guys will be making the final decision on all that stuff.
Have we previously done a comparative analysis between the LID and the CIP? I understand there's timing and there's urgency.
Well,
Have we had an opportunity to?
the only reason why we wouldn't try to tackle this with the CIP ourselves is we have funds that are committed.
Yeah.
And we don't have those additional funds now to go try to do one of these. If we can replace the funds, the additional money we need in a commitment from the state of Alaska, then you've got the entire reserve that's sitting there free willy to be able to do whatever it could be used that way. I don't recommend it to be done that way, but you could do it that way. The reserve's a very important thing for doing capital projects and being able to roll funds. And I would recommend that you try to continue to build that up so that we never have to go into bond to do anything. It would be much better if you have money sitting there, liquid, and drawing interest on it than go into debt for something. I mean, we've all suffered some, and we're just trying to mitigate the suffrage.
I don't have any more questions.
Thanks. Anyone else? Okay. And this is just setting that public hearing, nothing else.
Correct.
Okay, clerk.
Motion's been made. Motion's been made and seconded to introduce and set a public hearing for December 11th for ordinance 2526, an ordinance of the Houston City Council to establish the Birch Road and South Loon Boulevard LID with funding from reserve fund at prime interest rates for landowners within the LID. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right, the next one is C, ordinance 2527. I'll read that into the record.
Ordinance number 2527, an ordinance of the Houston City Council to accept the donation and appropriate $2,500 from the Houston Lions. Set public hearing for ordinance 2527 for November 13th, 2025.
I'll make a motion that we set the public hearing for November 13th, 2025 at 6 p.m.
I'll second.
Any questions on that one?
I actually have a few amendments to be made on a few of the lines. Can I hand this to the clerk?
Are you trying to amend this right here?
This, I just have a few amendments. on
Okay,
it.
well, that would be, we would do that at the public hearing time.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We're just doing the introduction, so to speak. Unless there are material, let me take a look, because if there are material changes, we can do them now.
Just some wording on this.
I don't think it changes anything, but we can do those on the day of.
You can all, she can make amendments tonight. I'd like to at least hear what she has to say. Amendments can be made tonight.
We, it's,
Line 23. Amend section 2 to read, the purpose of this ordinance is to appropriate a community donation from the Houston Lions Club to support improvements and amenities within city parks and recreational facilities. Line 26. Section 3, a total of $2,500 is appropriated to Fund 3, Houston Parks and Recreation Enterprise Fund in parentheses for the purposes of improving parks, trails, and recreational facilities consistent with city properties. Line 30, Section 4. The source of funds for this appropriation is a $2,500 donation from the Houston Lions Club to be deposited in Fund 3, Houston Parks and Recreation Enterprise Fund in quote, in parentheses. Okay. Are you wanting those two?
I don't, yeah, well, I think that's just a motion.
I just feel like the rewording these gives more definition to where exactly the money is going and how it's going to be spent. Kind of gives more of a direction than just generally saying, to fund 03 or, it just gives the public more information about how the money is going to be spent and where it came from.
It's not how it's spent, it's where it's going.
Where it's going to. Sorry.
Right.
Okay, if you're going to discuss it, you have to have a second.
I'll second it.
I feel like this ordinance already has the information. It says it's going into the Parks and Rec Enterprise Fund to help improve parks and trails with the city of Houston. It says it's received from the Houston Lions Club. I mean, I don't know what information's not there, I guess, already.
Anyone else?
I just don't see any substantial change between the way it's written and the way it's being amended.
But yeah, there is no substantial change. I would be willing to just bring it back with her verbiage. It doesn't affect, when it comes to the hearing time, it's not going to affect anything.
Madam Clerk, could you please read again, I believe it's line 26 and 30, her amendments, what it would be?
Section 3, appropriation of funds. A total of $2,500 is appropriated to Fund 3, Houston Parks and Recreation Enterprise Fund in parentheses for the purpose of improving parks, trails, and recreational facilities consistent with city properties. You ready for the next one?
Yes, ma'am.
Line 30, Section 4, source of funds. The source of funds for this appropriation is $2,500 donation from the Houston Lions Club to be deposited in Fund 3, Houston Parks and Recreation Enterprise Fund in parentheses.
I just think Section 4, source of funds, is just where did the money come from? It doesn't need to have a dollar amount in the source of funds. It just needs to have where the money came from. And it says right there, received from Houston from Houston Lions. I don't see, we already have the amount in there twice or three times is on this. So I don't know why we need to put the amount in the source of the funds. I'm not understanding what information needs to be added for more clarity. I feel like all the information is on here that's needed to understand where it's going, who it came from, the amount, the fund it's going to, or the account it's going to. All of that information is provided. So
It's just essentially repeating section 2 into section 3 and 4.
right.
I'd like to ask for a 10-minute recess so I can visually
Sure.
figure this out. Thank you.
Recess, and be back at,
Thank you.
Carries unanimously.
I would suggest we just take that to the clerk and she'll do the
You can give it to me if you're.
correction.
Main motion as amended. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Then you want to do the 2528.
Ordinance number 2528, an ordinance of the Houston City Council to accept the donation and appropriate $2,600 from the Houston, Alaska Chamber of Commerce and set the public hearing for November 13th, 2025.
Okay, I make a motion. 2528, right?
Yep.
Make a motion of ordinance 2528, introduction on that.
Make a motion for the introduction of ordinance 2528 and set the public hearing for November 13th at 2025 at 6 PM.
I'll second.
And if we would incorporate her
Yep,
things into
got
the
it.
final version, that'll be easier than going through the vote.
I will do that.
And council, just so that you know, she provided some additional language. It doesn't substantially change what we have, so we're going to integrate it into the final version that's put before the public next time.
But it doesn't need a vote.
I don't, no, it's really a grammatical
It's not
thing than it is anything else. Yeah, that's true. If it would change anything, I would write. So,
Any? You ready to vote,
I am.
council? Motion's been made and seconded to introduce ordinance 2528, an ordinance of the Houston City Council to accept the donation and appropriate $2,600 from the Houston, Alaska Chamber of Commerce and set the public hearing for November 13th, 2025. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
That's the end of that. Audience comments, anyone left in the audience that'd like to speak?
Carla Vanderbeek. I am not going to benefit from this LID in any way, but I would just ask you guys to please, if these residents want the gas, give them the opportunity to get gas. We have to start somewhere in getting this into our city. So I look at this as a good step forward, and I'm just hoping that down the road, I will benefit from gas. But until all of our citizens get gas, I'm going to keep pushing for it. And on a different note, I appreciate the respect you guys showed for each other. And it was a very constructive meeting, I thought. For us sitting in the audience, we didn't have to listen to little, nitpicky stuff. And you guys just did your job like you're supposed to. And I want to thank you for that.
Anyone else?
Laurie Faubert. I would like to echo her sentiment, natural gas, please. I will say that NSTAR quoted me a $20,000 bill, and I live right next door to the Wild Grove Rehab Center. It's like 200 yards. They want $20,000 for me to just personally put it to my house. So even if the cost for the LID was $10,000, I'm still winning with that. Also, there's tribal funds that can be utilized in things. I don't know if I'm the only tribal member that lives on the road. I will investigate that and go forward with that. I know that Ron already left, but we're going to continue our effort to get our neighbors together and do whatever we need to do to support each other as a community. I would like to say that I think this meeting was amazing, and I hope that all of your meetings go this way. It's refreshing. And thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, guys. Deb Mitchell. I just want to encourage you. You're going to hear me come up here and rah-rah sis boomba you a lot. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited as well. I appreciate you preparing for the meetings and giving your best effort and always looking to problem solve before it comes, before the Thursdays that we get to talk about these things. I do want to encourage you guys. We know that there's a big meeting coming up on Monday. And I am just kind of stepping back, and I want you to prayerfully, if you pray, consider what your capacity is. There's a lot of excitement of things coming forward, projects that have already been started. But from my personal opinion, when I look at a corporation or a big entity, which we're a part of a bigger entity in the state of Alaska, there's a lot of self-examination that we have to do about what our capacity is and how big our plates are and how we can best represent the people that we care for in the city. I want us to, I want to encourage you guys to make the best appropriate decision for mayor and deputy mayor this coming Monday based upon merit, based upon ability, based upon capacity, just like we would in any other enterprise where the most qualified candidate is who is typically hired. I know you guys all have beautiful strengths, different areas of strengths and opportunities within your own families, within your own area, within your own neighborhoods. But I also want us to step back and really consider with a humble attitude what we can handle in our own capacities. Kent and I have talked about that a lot, and I know what his strengths are and I know what they aren't. But I just encourage you guys to really understand that the process that we've stepped into over the last 5 years that we've been a part of this, even going back to prior meetings, when we're talking about the gas that's been coming through, that there are things that have been set in place. I know that it's hard to always find the information, but there have been things that have been set forward. And there are connections with the state that have been made. There are people who sit on the council who have the ability to best perform their jobs. And so I just want to really encourage you guys to make the best choice for your community, and I know you will. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none. Start down with this thing. Yes. Any comments?
Thank you guys for coming out to support us. I know it's probably a little bit painful watching us go through our first baby steps here, but thank you guys and hope to do you good. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you to the community that came out. We had quite a crowd tonight, which is awesome. It's great to have a lot of people coming out and being a part of this, and just the mention of the online people being able to watch on YouTube, which is pretty cool. They can actually see the meeting as well as hear. I think we have a better audio system now too, so the sound is a lot better. I went back to look at or listen to some previous meetings this last week, and I had to leave the house because any child speaking at a low volume was interrupting. I had the phone up to my ear. I couldn't even hear like anything in the meeting hardly. And so it's awesome that we have this new equipment, the new video camera. That's awesome. So it actually helps bring more involvement. And we had a mention of somebody leaving for the winter and they're going to watch every YouTube meeting. So that's awesome. So I'm glad we got that grant passed, or we received the grant, but we got it passed and then got the new equipment. And so that's a step forward for people's involvement in the city. That's awesome. Thank you to the new council members. Welcome to your first official meeting. It's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to great things. I agree with the LID. Definitely want to make it possible for everyone to be able to afford that's on that property. And if you don't have natural gas now and you really want it and this LID passes, you could buy a lot on that road at a higher evaluation now, I'm sure, because but anyways, I do want to see we have an issue in the city with there's so many low income families, so many families that are just barely getting by because the cost of heating is so high. We have a heating fuel system, brand new Toyo stoves in all of the buildings at the church. And it's still like we have 1,300 gallons we have to fill up the next month. And that'll set us for a few months, but it just burns so fast and it's so expensive. It's a massive cost. It is the biggest expense in our church budget every year. And I know we're 2 miles outside of town, but man, if natural gas, we have a natural gas well directly across the road. I don't know what the plan is for that. I don't think it's NSTAR, but we have resources in Alaska that we need to utilize. And if we can make living more affordable for the residents of Houston, I think we need to take every step we can to do that. And then for those who can't afford to initiate the infrastructure, I think we need to find ways to make it affordable. We need to find ways to make it so everyone has access to lower heating costs. I think that's our duty as a council, as a city. We need to work together to make that happen. So thank you for all the work that you and Ron have done on this LID. I think it's exciting that the citizens are taking this into their own hands and making it happen. I think that's really cool. So congratulations for that. Thank you to Melissa and Christian Hartley, all the work you guys have done. Just finding grants, I think, has been your specialty since I've been on the council. It's always awesome to see you coming forward with more free money for the city to build things and do things in the city. It's awesome. And to be able to bless the citizens of Houston with free firewood, that's amazing. So thank you for all your work that you've done. I do think that it's important that we build and maintain an incredible relationship with the Mat-Su Health Foundation. They have millions of dollars and they love to give it away for good causes. And if we get our foot in the door, if we say no to this grant, they'll probably never look our direction again. And I think if we say yes to this and continue to do good things with the money that they provide, we will have another great resource that the city can utilize. And thank you to previous Deputy Mayor Childs for all the work he's done. He has done a lot of work drawing Mat-Su Health Foundation's focus to the city of Houston. He has an incredible relationship with them. He's done a lot of footwork to make that happen. So thank you to him for that. Other than that, I don't have much else to say. Thanks.
I'd just like to say thank you to everybody that came out. It was a full house. It's nice to see people coming to these meetings. And it was very nice to see some younger generations here and speaking to us, because that's great. Just getting the younger generation involved in our city, I think in general it's a huge goal of mine personally. And I guess today I had off and I went down to the Susitna Rotary Park, and we have about 3/4 of the planking done on the boardwalk. Sorry, I couldn't think of the name. But that's coming along really, really great, and we're hoping to have it finished up hopefully by the weekend.
Councilmember Johansson.
I would just like to thank everybody who came out here tonight. Always appreciate seeing our community members here, as well as the ones who can now watch online. Thank you very much for doing that. I'd also like to congratulate our new members surviving your first meeting. Woo! Just more fun from here. And then once again, I would just like to challenge my fellow council members. We have the city's trunk or treat coming up on Sunday, October 26th. And it's always a good time. Fire department is there, especially to the new members. Come down, meet your fire department, meet the community members that come down for the trunk or treat. Always really cool getting to interact with everybody. So I just challenge you to come down, even if you don't do a space, come down, talk to people, see who's here, and just have a good time. So thank you.
Short and sweet. Thank you very much for everybody coming out tonight. And I was especially proud to see the young adults participating. I thought that was very impressive. Thank you.
Again, thanks for everybody for coming, and the folks that are watching on YouTube. I'm glad that you can hear us speak now. You know, it's the small things that matter. Again, yes, trunk or treat. Even if you don't get a trunk, there are not a lot of opportunities in Houston where everybody comes, not everybody, not like Founders Day, everybody, but a huge number of folks come down. It's a great opportunity to meet the folks and hear from people. And I've been down there a few years, and it's always a good time. So do the trunk or treat. And I know we've heard it, we're beating a dead horse here, but being in a home that is still on heating oil, it just feels a little ridiculous. We live in a state that pumps energy out of the ground. We then take that energy and we ship it to Texas, where they refine it and they ship it back. And then we pay $4 a gallon to heat our houses with it. Natural gas comes out of the ground and never has to leave the neighborhood. And it's 20% the cost. We've seen the BTU comparisons, dollars to BTU of heat, and it is 80-20. It's ridiculous, the cost savings on natural gas. Not only that, you don't burn 1 million gallons of diesel hauling it down to Texas to get it refined, and then 1 million gallons hauling it back. It feels like drowning in the middle of a lake here in energy costs. The first council meeting I ever attended, I didn't know anybody, and they were talking about phase 2 of the natural gas project. That was 5 years ago, I think. Now, granted, we had 4 years of federal government that did not like the idea of doing any infrastructure that had anything to do with fossil fuels. So that kind of sat on the table and nothing happened. We're back to having a rational energy plan again, and I'd like to see that plan move forward. I would like to see it a topic at every meeting until nobody is paying for heating oil in this town anymore. And you guys all got one under your belt now. Awesome. So, welcome.
All right, I wanted to take a moment and read into the record some of the things that are left out there to be done, so that if a new administration needs to remember or can't remember, it'll be recorded for them. King Arthur, the upgrades on King Arthur are in design, or headed in design, and that's a project that Melissa will be keeping track of. The main highway upgrades for DOT need to be coordinated. I had that done once. They desperately would like us to do it again. Planning and zoning has been challenging, but I think we're gonna have an additional people there now, which would be good coming up for the new administration. We've got 2 people that are looking to get on it. So that should solve the personnel issue there. The property for the train depot should, and Melissa's tracking, got her on the email chain with the borough now. She'll be watching that as that comes through so she can help bring that back to the council. The master plan, she's already got that dialed in for planning and zoning on the 30th. Now, the auction of the log cabin. I actually put that on hold because we had a opportunity that we put a grant in for. I didn't want to get rid of it, but there was nothing else I could actually, there was no good way to pencil out what to do with it, and there were some folks that were really attached to it. So we went back and did another look and see if there was something we could do, and there was a grant for $50,000 that we're waiting to find out whether we did our best job applying for it, and if we get it, it will allow us to keep it and use it. So that's something the next administration is going to have to follow up with, but that's where I've left it for now. Even though we asked the council to auction it off, we didn't feel like we were getting enough for it to let it go at the auction. So we went and looked for other things. So hopefully it actually can be retained. It would be nice. The new dump truck will arrive in January now, and I think I beat the staff into submission of having ready to be able to deal with that when it shows up. The sound system was readjusted yesterday, or was it today? I can't even remember now.
Yesterday.
So it's working pretty good. We just got to remember to do the buttons that I can't seem to remember. And hopefully
that'll, which I had forgot. Who would have guessed? Okay, then there's the cybersecurity grant that is in the process of closing out. And then they are looking for additional grants for roads, natural gas, and parks and recs. And there's quarterly reports that both finance and public works will be doing for the remaining grants that are still out there. And then for public safety, I actually, there's a potential getting George Hay to come talk about the Mat-Su Borough Animal Control. They have their plan finalized now. And as soon as I sent them the resolution, they said, well, just schedule a time. We'd be glad to meet with your council. So I would suggest, and I'm just suggesting, that you do a work session with the council, and then hopefully that'll answer anything remaining out there, and then bring it up on the next meeting. They just need to know, they would like to know by January, and all the other cities are on track to let them or get their process completed by then. So as long as the new administration gets that completed by then, all's well. Station 9-3 that I have, Chief is watching that for any progress. Okay, then finance, we have a pre-scheduled audit February 2nd. Just making sure that it's all ready to go for the next administration. Collecting, we still have to collect on the from the Department of Homeland Security, both from our cybersecurity grant and our last portion of 9 roads that hasn't been paid yet. Samantha is on them, and I would not want to have her after me. So I'm assuming it will get collected here shortly. Potential cybersecurity grant to be updated and there's a portion of the funds left over. We've asked to have those repurposed for a municipal management program that was part of a work order system that we worked on. It needs to be updated to our latest software that's on the grant, and we've asked for that to be done so that additional cybersecurity needs can be built into that program. And if that's the case, we'll get the first piece of that paid for under the cybersecurity grant with what was left over from it. But the next administration, I'm just letting them know that's something that they got to keep tracked out. New grant for 9-3 Fire Station Public Works. All I can say about that is I'm really disappointed in our federal government again. As soon as the shutdown's done, the next administration really needs to be contacting Senator Murkowski and just making sure that we're not traded away for something. We got traded away for something last year, and I just don't want it to happen this time. And they've kind of said they won't, but it'd be much better to have somebody crying in their ear than not. So it is a very important piece to make sure that they know we need it. And I know they need it because they know that we have no place to store the equipment that they're helped us get. So they're motivated to help us, but it doesn't hurt to keep on them. And then the clerks, they have to finish updating our stuff online, which they've made a lot of progress and they're really working. Now, I know it was very frustrating to the public, but there's nothing more frustrating when you're trying to put stuff online and you work for a day and it's lost. So we had a tremendous amount of problems with that switchover. There was wires that were wired backwards. In other words, where they were supposed to be, they weren't. And it would operate, and Jeff could probably tell you more how that happens, but it would operate, but it would actually not the data would have a tendency to be lost. So now that we've got the server in a secure room, cooling, and they are making progress. So that should be, what do you think, 2 months? You guys should be-
Yeah, it's just, October is horrible. We haven't had a lot of time to work on it, not this October.
So that
But
was that was a real problem for the entire city. You could be working and you're freeze, and then everything you just did was gone, and then you have to go back and figure out where you left off at. So it was very frustrating to get to this point, and it's actually quite pleasurable now to actually work on those machines. They're very smooth. Haven't lost anything in a week now. And so going forward, hopefully you will find it a much more robust system in place. All right, and then they have been going through with a business license review of everything for a period of time. This was not done well. And I think, what do you think you left on?
We've got, right now, 50 that need determination letters.
Okay, so there is some work left to be done, and
And we're finding more and more and more businesses that are operating in the city of Houston without a city of Houston business license or filing any sales tax. So we are finding those too.
so that is a problem.
Yep.
And when people do that, they are, as some people would say, they don't pay their fair share. We are hoping that people, now that we're getting a cycle up and they're not getting away with it, that they actually do the right thing. And so the clerks have been out there trying to get that straightened out. And then the new administration, you need to concentrate on their 25 match with Senator Showers and Representative McCabe and Todd and the governor, and see what they can come up with. We need about $650,000 for that match. And once that's secured, that will help us tremendously as far as your reserve wouldn't have to be committed, and we would be able to do a few of those nice things that we would all like to do. And then today was actually the Valley Mayor's meeting, and it was here. So it is, I encourage the next administration to be involved in that. You get insight like I don't know how many people know this yet, but I'm putting it out now, that the port did get the grant for those roll-offs. They are working towards that $180 million for their road and train tracks, which, if I wouldn't bet against them with our current president wanting us to get gas. The whole idea was to get that port available to be able to put pipe on it or in it, so it can move up the tracks to support a pipeline coming down. So the first piece is fallen. The next few pieces are being worked on, and hopefully there'll be something positive by next summer as far as for that to report on. There's always oversight to do, and you need to stay diligent as the administration overviewer. We have a great staff, but it does take a constant checking. And so don't lapse back. Keep a firm, steady hand on this. It's taken a long time to get this city to run this well, and I do not want it to go backwards. And when I'm sitting on the council here, I will be watching. The train depot property, you'll be notified by Melissa when it's available, but you will have to show up at the borough and receive it from the assembly. It is going to be very valuable for this town as those train tracks are upgraded. So don't miss the opportunity. And then Councilmember Mitchell covered something that's very important that we all understand. Mat-Su Health Foundation has money, but they're not going to invest in your community if they, don't think you can do it or trust you with it. They have plenty of communities where that money can go. Part of why they are investing in this community is the record we had about completing things and the trust that they had within this administration. Don't mess that up. That was hard to gain, and it needs to continue, because they will help this city grow, and especially in the Parks and Rec. That's what those folks like to support. And then I want to meet with the new mayor and deputy mayor on Tuesday morning of next week, would be the 21st. And I want to be able to get with them and go over the things that's still before the city. There's some legal issues, and there's some other things that the administration needs to be firsthand knowledge of. So that's that's an important thing, so please make yourself available. Invite, like I said earlier, George Hay could be invited either November or December for the animal control thing. And with that, I'm going to adjourn, I think.
No.
Oh, excuse me.
Um,
Go,
Nick?
Kurt.
Jason, Kelly, and Dan, do not leave. I have paperwork for you that you need to fill out and have returned here by Monday morning.
Pictures too, right?
And pictures. We need your pictures to put on the website. To all of the council, when I send you things via email, I send them being notified that they were sent and a notification of you reading the message. And no one here does that, except for Mr. Brazel and the mayor. I'm doing my job and my due diligence, sending you information that you need, and you're not letting me know you got it. In the eyes of the administration, we have no clue whether or not you're reading them or even care, checking your emails. Please, all you have to do is click a button. I'm doing my job. I need you guys to do yours.
Quick question on mine. I usually am on my phone and on my computer, I'll get the read receipt, but on my phone, I do not. So then do you just want me to reply that I've read it?
That would be great.
Okay.
If you, I don't know, I don't have the email on my phone, so I don't know that. You did, but you didn't. You did, but that's not clicking the button on your email.
Is there an automatic read receipt?
Yes. I don't know. I don't know what yours does, but I'm just saying. And your packets for tomorrow will be emailed to you, but they will also be put in your binders, and you three will also have a binder, just like this. And they get put outside in the gray box that's at the employee entrance. There's a drop box on one side of the door, and then there's a gray box on the bottom by where you can brush your feet off. There's a gray box there, and all the binders go in there, and you can come and pick it up at the end of the day or over the weekend. And that's where they go, just so you are aware. That's all I have.
And what that also does, it lets us know that your emails are working when they
True.
send something out, because we were clueless a lot of the summer whether the council members were getting it because of our issues that we were having back there. So if you just can do that, let the clerk know, then she can stop worrying about it.
And if you have problems with your email, contact Ryan. I can't help you guys with it. I have no control over it whatsoever. He's the only one that can fix it for you. And he's pretty quick.
Yeah, he is fast.
I have a question with the email. Most emails say do not reply for violation of open meeting
Yeah,
act.
but when you open it, it should say, when you get it, but you might not, just like, it might not do it on your phone. That's what Lisa just said, so I don't.
Are you on the Outlook app?
Yes. I'm really not sure. My wife is my tech. She's my IT. She's my IT, so.
I think there's a setting that you can turn that on, but.
I do read your emails.
Yep.
I sent you already.
Thanks, Dan.
With that, God bless you all, and it's 8:30. I can't see it well enough to know.